The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
Well, this is an episode returning for myself as I have been on a little break, but I am joined by AEW superstar Bishop Kaun. This is one that I've been very looking forward to. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Where do we even start? I mean, AEW, I'm a big fan of that. Big fan of Tony. Ring of Honor, you pretty much do double duty. What's it like from Ring of Honor and AEW? Can you tell us, what's the difference?
I'd say it's fairly similar. I guess just differences in the type of wrestling. I mean, they're both very wrestle-centric, but I feel like Ring of Honor is built around, all about in-ring storytelling, and AEW is a little bit more trying to balance both the storytelling and promos, like the traditional pro wrestling style, I guess you could say. So, but if you just think about the history of ROH, that's always built around the in-ring work, pure wrestling style. It's just all about the matches, the match quality. So I think a little bit of a difference.
I mean, you're a former three-time Ring of Honor six-man tag team champion. Mm-hmm. What was it like winning your first title in a major company?
Very surreal because it was during the pandemic. So there was no crowd. It was like a taped show, I believe. But definitely surreal. Something I did not really imagine happening, especially like a six-man championship. I didn't really know what Ring of Honor was before. It's 2 or 3 years prior to being signed there. So I mean, it's a cool experience. I got to win it 3 times. Each time was different. Winning in Texas was awesome with a live crowd, and then winning again with Toa and Brian. I feel like it's just special every time. Nothing like having that championship belt and having to pack it in your bag every time.
Oh yeah. How much would you say the belt weighs?
Maybe 10, 15 pounds, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe 10 pounds. I can be completely off.
So obviously you were signed to Ring of Honor first.
Yep.
And then Tony Khan bought it out in 2022, I think, 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
And then how did you get signed automatically? Were the wrestlers who were signed to Ring of Honor at the time get an option?
So I was signed to ROH for 3 years, right as the buyout was, I guess, right before the buyout was happening. Ring of Honor was basically ending all operations. So my contract ended there. And then I signed with AEW maybe 6 months later. And then maybe a month or 2 later, they bought Ring of Honor. So it's kind of funny because everyone who was there before the buyout, contracts just ended. That was it for ROH. That was it for the original Sinclair era of Ring of Honor. And then there's a few of us that were able to trickle. And it was all about networking, who made the connections to go to AEW.
I see what you mean. And that's quite, like you mentioned, it's funny how it felt.
Yeah.
That's Ring of Honor ends. You were Ring of Honor. Tony buys it. You signed with him 2 months before. It's crazy.
Right.
You've also been very fortunate to compete in not Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And that must have been like a dream as a kid.
Again, I didn't know about these places when I got into wrestling. I really didn't know about the independents when I first started wrestling either. So when I first made Ring of Honor, then I knew about New Japan because at the time we had a partnership with New Japan. So there'd be these global wars during the summertime with New Japan talent would come over and we do these talent exchanges. But when I got to AEW, I never even thought it was a chance to go there. But I think a couple people pitched it to the office, hey, what about the Gates? They can go do this tag league. And getting the opportunity to actually go there was just a dream. It's probably one of the best trips of my life. 3 weeks, 17 matches. The best food I've ever had in my life. The culture was amazing. It's so respectful and organized. It was quiet. It's probably one of the best trips ever. You learned so much wrestling every day. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to go to Japan, not gone yet. So the fact that you mentioned that you've done it, 3 weeks, 17 matches, wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Definitely.
Especially in that short space of time.
Yeah, I mean, at least by the last match, Toa and I really felt like we hit a groove just because we started a routine the first day we were there. Wake up, hit the gym, try to get off some of this rust or the soreness from the day before. Then you had maybe an hour or two of downtime, get on the bus, go to the show. and like that mat was hard. So, but it was nice to like have that routine. By the end of it, we were like, yo, we can probably do another couple weeks. Like we felt like well-oiled machine. It was like the most packed amount of wrestling we've had in such a short amount of time. So we were just on fire on all cylinders.
Really, it's really good. So the fact that you've been competing since 2017.
Yep.
That's when you first started. So to think that you've gone from Ring of Honor, AEW, and you fought in New Japan Pro Wrestling, that is like someone's dream.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate, but I've also honestly worked my ass off to get to this point. So
100%.
Yeah.
You've also been with Swerve Strickland and Brian Cage, both different mentors and stuff. What would you say the biggest thing you've learned from Swerve and Brian?
I think with Brian, like constructing matches, just because he wrestles differently than I do. But he was so quick to put things together and make the most sense. And for Swerve, it's all about storytelling. And you can see that with his work. It's all about storytelling, the character motives. To him, wrestling, I feel like was like a movie, like a comic book. It's just two different, like, again, mentors, but just getting different knowledge from each of them. And Swerve, both of them have been wrestling like 15 plus years. So to be in a group with both of them, even Prince Nana himself, you're just getting so much. You're just like basically, quote unquote, sitting under the learning tree.
That's true.
Yeah.
How would you describe Tony Khan as a boss?
He's super nice, very approachable, respectful, optimistic. I feel like when I met him, I don't know, it's different. Like, this is still a job. So meeting a boss in like my shoot job at the time, my design job, was very different than meeting Tony, who's just like a friend. Like it's the person that you work for, but he's just very nice, approachable dude that you can have a conversation or a joke with, versus like a boss in my shoot job when I was like a production designer, and I felt like I couldn't say anything correctly, and they were just constantly critiquing and hounding my work. So it's very different, like polar opposites.
Yeah.
Mm.
What would you say the most rewarding thing about being a professional wrestler is?
Oh, man. A good friend of mine and I went to Colombia, and we were jet skiing out in the middle of like some open water. I don't even know where we were. He was like, man, because he's also a pro wrestler. He's like, look at our lives. Like, when I break it down, I live the life that I've always wanted. Like, I work very hard, and like the work is just different than what my shoot job would have been. Like, it's getting up, training, eating correctly, getting the right sleep, going to do Devon school, going to the Natty, the dungeon, like doing that kind of training, and just being all preparing for this like one moment of a few minutes versus like a shoot job, which is very repetitive. So I feel like the most rewarding thing for me is I get so much freedom to do whatever I want in my life. I get to travel all over the world. Thanks to wrestling, I've been to Japan, Paris, London. I've been able to afford to go to Colombia, like wrestling in Canada, all over the US, and then taking like acting classes, meeting some of my childhood heroes. Like, this just allowed me to live like such a fruitful life. I'm eternally grateful for everything.
Yeah. So what would you say the ultimate goal is for you in professional wrestling?
I don't know. Of course,
what is the end goal?
I guess be a world champion. Like, that's, if you're not like whoever who's Stone Cold, like if you're in this business to not be a world champion, why are you in this business? So probably be a world champion. Otherwise, like the childhood version of myself would be like, you've already been successful. Like, I get to do this as a career. I've been doing it for 8+ years. So, I mean, the goal is, be a champion. I just want to be a champion.
So obviously you are pretty much bouncing from AEW and Ring of Honor.
Mm.
Obviously the goal for you at the moment would be to win the tag team titles.
Of course.
But there's a few single titles there. What one would you like to win? What's one that you have your eye on if you do break out to be a single star?
For ROH, the Pure Championship. I know Lee Moriarty has that one, but from where my father comes from, there's like this traditional wrestling style called Wasua, which is like Greco-Roman wrestling. So I feel like it's in my birthright to be like a pure wrestler. But for AEW, I think that TNT title looks pretty nice. I think some tremendous pro wrestlers have held that title, so I think that's something I would want.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So obviously you just recently had a match against the Hurt Syndicate on AEW. What was that like, especially stepping in the ring with Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley?
The kid in me would be like, wow, you're literally in the ring with two of like your childhood heroes. Shelton, I grew up watching the World's Greatest Tag Team. Bobby was ECW champ. I remember when Bobby debuted, like, these are legends to me, especially black wrestlers too. Being in the ring with them though, I felt that I belonged. Like, I'm as big as these dudes. I hit as hard as these dudes. But it was nice to be in the ring with people that have more experience than me. I feel like that's always a challenge to feel like for them, if we can step up, which we always step up and step like way beyond what people expect us to do. That's fun, man. It's a hard-hitting match. Like, I told them to hurt me. Yeah. They beat me up, but I mean, I enjoyed all of that. I don't think this feud is done yet. I think there's a lot more story that we can tell.
Oh, 100%. And I feel like you're not even scratching the surface with them.
Not at all. And
you know what I liked about that match? If you look at that match, there's a lot of culture in that match. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There was like 4 people in that match who are,
yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
they are. It's just a lot of culture. Like Bobby Lashley, like Sean Benjamin, yourself, and Toa. It's
and
unbelievable.
MVP. Right.
MVP.
Yeah.
MJF, if he does decide to appear, who knows what's happening with that stuff.
You're right. Kind of disrespectful to come after that match, but whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Obviously, 2025, we are 4 months in. You've still got a long way to go for the end of 2025. What do you want to achieve by the end of 2025?
Toa and I have yet to wrestle on the AEW pay-per-view, and I kind of take that as like a dig. So that needs to be that's one goal for sure. Congrats to the people like the Outrunners who got a pay-per-view match before us. They worked hard and they were over with the crowd, but Toa and I deserve that opportunity. I just want to wrestle so much more, honestly. There's 2 years ago, I wrestled like 85 matches on the independents. I think this year maybe like not even 10. But I've also been busy with AEW, of course. I just want to wrestle more. I want to travel the world. I want to be a workhorse. I've been saying that every time I get interviewed. I just want to be a workhorse. That's how I was trained by Joey Mercury. I am a fucking pro wrestler, and I'm trying to wrestle every week if I can.
Yeah, you can tell you got that passion and that fire in you. Do you know what I mean? You just want to like go everywhere and see people, meet new fans, do this, do that.
Yeah, I mean,
I get that vibe.
I grew up with parents that had to work 7 days a week. And like, I know there's a lot of people like that, but like, I've always worked. Even when I was in grad school, I had a full-time job and I was wrestling training at night. Like, I've always worked. So like, it's a weird balance. Like, I appreciate how much free time I have with my life, but like, I want to be on the road every week. I'm trying to grind. Mm-hmm.
So obviously when a normal AEW show, you get called that you're going to go to it. Run me through like the day for an AEW show. Obviously, say for example, I don't know, with the time that you might start there because America and UK. Do you start the show at 7 o'clock at night?
It depends where we are in the country. So Central time zone would be 7, East Coast would be like 8, West Coast, I believe, maybe 4. It just depends on different time zones, but I mean, it's always the same schedule. Wake up, work out, eat, whatever, and then a little bit downtime, you head to the arena, and then just kind of plan out the rest of your day, go from there. Yeah.
You mentioned you've been to London.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It was very last minute, but I was thinking I was there for like 2 days. Wrestling Wembley Stadium. Again, this is stuff I never thought about. Was on my vision board. Perform in front of 40,000 people. That sounds very like ridiculous to say. Like people can't fathom that. And it went by so fast. Like it was the biggest stage we've ever been on. You just saw like a sea of people. And then next thing you know, it was like over. But that was very like that's a notch on my belt to have for like my career highlights. Other than that, like I had an extra day. I went to Stonehenge. I was like, if I'm out here, I might as well go see something. So took the bus out there like 2 hours and just reading about the history of that. Like that also kicked off this desire of mine to travel more. So fortunately, when I got to go to Paris, it's like, hey, I got to go see the sights too. Went to the Eiffel Tower, and just I realized how easy it is to travel with what we do. Like you get to perform places, but then most places you can just get around as long as you have your cell phone. So like even when we were in Japan, as long as you have the translator, you can talk a little bit of Japanese. You can just maneuver your way around, see the sights. But yeah, London was awesome.
London can be a very beautiful city.
I bet.
Especially if you come in the summer.
I'll have to make it out there then.
Yeah. Is the UK on your destination to come back to?
Oh, for sure. I've wrestled only one promotion out there, so that's definitely a place I have to go back. I got to see those. I got to go to all the countries, hop on the train. I need to see the sights.
100%. The UK, I think, apart from I don't know about America, but America is very different because it's like if you watch WWE, like if they come to, they've been to Bash at Berlin, they've been Germany, like France, the crowds in the Europe is just different.
It is.
And we are, in my eyes, one of the best countries that are passionate for wrestling. The America might be, but I think we put them to shame.
I can see that, yeah.
We are, 100%. I see that you are a horror fan.
I am. It's ironic. I mean, I've always had these posters, but then I'm wearing the Child's Play t-shirt as well.
So talk to me about that. Obviously, Chucky must be...
Yeah, he was one of the first ones. I think probably given my dad. He would watch horror movies when my sister and I were kids, and then when I was probably 9, I saw the first 2 Child's Play at like a birthday party. It scared the shit out of me, but ever since then, it's just something that I've gotten really into. You see like these memes on Instagram where it's like, oh, I want to relax. I'm going to go put on Paranormal Activity. That's what I do. I enjoy. There's some movies that have gotten me. I just enjoy like that element of fear. Like why not? And then some horror movies are just very cool to me, like the supernatural stuff or how gruesome things can be. I mean, I think it's kind of interesting. So
yeah. So apart from Chucky, who would you say your Mount Rushmore of like horror is? Who's your 4 favorite or like films franchise?
Of course, Child's Play, Saw. I love the whole Saw series because it was so like new. Like for its time, it was just so out of the box. You didn't see stuff like that, making traps that was like serial killer, but not really because he's not killing anybody. People have to kill themselves. Hereditary, I really like. And then, was it Sinister? The first one. I mean, the second one's cool. The first one, though, I remember seeing that in San Francisco when it came out. That movie creeped me out. But if it creeps me out, then I'm like, okay, I'm a fan. I like it.
Okay. Are you a fan of It, the clown?
I am. I just rewatched the first movie maybe a couple weeks ago. It's all right. I mean, I don't like clowns, but I feel like maybe the original film was a little bit more creepy.
Yeah, these remakes are like,
I hate remakes, man. Just leave the originals alone.
When it comes to that, obviously, I like the Fast and Furious.
Okay.
But don't like it when I see cars like going into space or like, do you know what I mean? Be realistic.
Right.
Going into space, like the Fast and Furious 6, they did like a scene for like 15 minutes on a runway driving. And you're telling me that the runway, there's no runway in the world that's long for 15 minutes.
I think I stopped watching after 6. Like the 5th one hit its peak. And I'm like, okay. Because if you watch the first 2, this is like actual cars, like, I guess like not race cars, street drivers versus like the police. And then it just became like a whole action film on the side. Like you said, going into space. But I guess that's the point of the franchise now. It's just like outrageous car stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you manage to catch up on WrestleMania?
I did, of course. I'm a wrestling fan.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, pretty much true. Yeah. What was your favorite moment?
There's a handful. I really like Jacob Fatu's match. I'm a fan of him. I like Charlotte and Tiffany too. The fight was gritty. I mean, the whole show. I don't know. Again, like I try to not watch wrestling as like a critic. I just try to like appreciate it as a fan because we're all fans.
Very true.
So I enjoyed watching the shows. I was like, this is good wrestling. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, who is your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
Damn, that's a.
I ask this everybody. Don't worry.
Damn, that's tough. I don't know if I have like a Mount Rushmore. I guess I'll say that my favorite wrestler growing up was Jeff Hardy. That's the reason why I got into pro wrestling was him and Rey Mysterio. So I feel like Jeff Hardy was like him being the charismatic enigma. Like I was an artist growing up, seeing him like paint his arms and like tie his hair different colors and do all these stunts. Like that was so cool to me. And then like same but different style Rey Mysterio tatted up dude with the luchador mask, doing all this cool high flying stuff. I was just like locked into the screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the Hardy Boys, they might not have the long left.
Yeah.
They've got probably a few years. The Gates of Agony versus the Hardy Boys.
It could have happened, man. They were with AEW. We were in the same battle royal, but we were in two different rings.
Yeah, that is very true.
I was like, we were so close.
Is that something you would still love to happen?
Hell yeah, in a heartbeat. Like that's a dream match to me. Like the Hardy Boys in like a ladder match. That's I'd be freaking out.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So what throughout your career, where it can be AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, or even on the Indies, who or what has been your favorite match and opponent?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. All right, I'm gonna try to split it up between the promotions that I worked for. Okay. When on my first run in Ring of Honor, my old tag partner and I, Moses and I, wrestled the Briscoes.
Wow.
That was I feel like that was our first big test as a tag team. And like I remember I got like a double superplex off the top rope. But that was surreal to me, especially because like rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. Like this is the greatest tag team in Ring of Honor history, like arguably one of the best tag teams of all time. Mm-hmm. And I got to wrestle them like 2.5 years into my career. Like that's crazy to me. AEW, damn. Probably maybe Swerve and Ospreay. When Toe and I got to wrestle those two in the main event with Dynamite. That just feels like such a quick like moment in history for me, but I got the main event Dynamite. Like that's fucking awesome. And same like two other heavy hitters when I was in New Japan, Tanahashi and Okada. It was our last night of the tag league. Typically those last 2 nights are just like multi-man tag matches. And then we get the graphic the day before and we're like, oh shit. I wrestled Okada, like the Rainmaker and the Ace. And to hear the crowd's reactions when those guys came out. I got to wrestle so many cool people. I've gotten to wrestle like almost everybody. And like those two, you could feel the air in the arena change. So those teams, yeah. Okada and Tanahashi, those probably like the top of the list.
So what do you want to achieve before the end of the year is done? Like, do you want to, you mentioned a few years back you did 85 matches. Mm-hmm. You said you've not done as many, but what do you want to achieve still in 2025? Apart from obviously a pay-per-view match, what is that you want to achieve?
The AEW tag belts. Like we were close. I want the AEW tag championships. I want the Ring of Honor tag championships. No one has held both at the same time. Shit, I'll say that Toe and I can do that. Because we are workhorses and we are like so hungry just to like prove our worth and prove that we can. And we proved it. We can prove that we can stand up to every team there. We just need the opportunity to really show out. So that's what I want. I want championship gold. I want those. I've had the 6-man belts 3 times. I feel like the next evolution in this game is the tag belts. So I want it. I want them all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's doable. Very doable. Still got 8 months left.
Yeah. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. What first made you fall in love with professional wrestling?
I think the first thing I saw was like D-Generation X, and I think that hooked me because I was such a hot part of the business. It made 99, 2000. And then, of course, right after that, I saw the Hardy Boys. And after that, I was just like completely obsessed. I've talked about other interviews. Like I had the WWE magazine. I used to make collages out of cutting stuff out and framing this stuff on my wall. I got a trampoline in my backyard to do backyard wrestling. Like I was all the way in.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So to finish this off, I always ask everyone an inspirational message. What would yours be?
Well, I'm not good at that kind of stuff.
It's gotta be positive.
Maybe because that's a conversation like a week ago. I think it's important for people to define what success is to them. I had someone try to tell me that I wasn't successful, like I haven't been successful yet in pro wrestling. I'm like, yo, this is literally my full-time job, and I've been doing it on TV for 5 years. I'm successful. Like, this is my job. I don't know what I think for them, they were like, oh, if you get signed somewhere else and get to the mountaintop, I'm like, no, this is success. I literally get so much freedom to do what I want. I get to travel the world. I am successful. I'm a successful pro wrestler, and people see me as such. I passed the airport test. I look like a pro wrestler. I move like one. Like I've been on national television. I've wrestled on pay-per-views. I've traveled the world. So just define what success is for you, and like don't let anybody dictate or like deviate from that, because you get to ultimately decide what that is.
Yeah, I like that one. And it's funny that you mentioned that. Obviously, look at Will Ospreay, prime example. He could have gone to WWE, didn't. He goes UK, America, UK, America, UK, America, probably a weekly basis, because it's about quality of life.
Yep.
If he's with AEW earning X amount of money, and it's like you, if you're with AEW earning X amount of money, and you can stay at home and do all these things and family time's precious, then you're winning.
Yeah, 100%. Like the amount of time I get to spend just with my family or like my girlfriend, again, traveling, I created this life. I've worked so hard for it and I obtained it. And like, yeah, like it's literally quality of life. When I worked my 9 to 5, like I hated it so much. So I worked so hard to get to this level in pro wrestling because like I hated my 9 to 5. I was working in a cubicle. And I know people do that, but like it just wasn't for me. Yeah. I did it for like 6 years and I was like, this is horrible. I was driving an hour each way to work. I fucking hated it.
You got to never take no for an answer as well.
Yeah, that too. Like if I didn't obtain or achieve certain things in wrestling, like, all right, I'm just keep working and then get to the next place.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Bishop Kaun, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate your time. I hope you have a lovely afternoon.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.